Namaste and Lakach Jayom Guru. Hello everyone. Welcome. Ganapati coming to you again from our Eckhart Spiritual Center here in Richland, New York, northern New York, where it's plenty cold up here. Temperatures falling, snow's coming down just a little bit, and well, because it's winter here in New York. We're used to it. I've lived here in New York my whole life, so I know it's no big deal. We're enjoying the winter wonderland here. And, well, each day I like to get together with all my brothers and sisters, see what's going on. How's the world out there today? How's it going? And I always like to share with my brothers and sisters whatever is on our mind, whatever's on our heart, right? Oh, yes. Thought we could get together and, well, talk about what's going on in the world and how is it affecting us. And how, well, you know, when we're talking about the spiritual stuff, how does that, apply to what's going on in the world today? How is that, are they separate conversations? That's how it seems like it's always been. What's going on in the world, well, that's one conversation. What's going on in spirituality, that's another conversation, and we just kind of keep those two separate. Because when we're out in the world, well, that's kooky talk, right? The spiritual stuff. That's not reality. We're in the real world, right? I would like to suggest that that's what's going wrong in that so-called real world. There's no spiritual advice and guidance going on in there. Good afternoon, Jody. Namaste. Welcome. Just talking about, how we kind of keep our spirituality kind of separate from what we call our everyday worldly life, right? And by, because so many in the world as so many people in the world have told us, it's not practical, right? We don't go to work and talk about our spirituality because that's not part of it, right? It's separate, right? Even our government, says, church and state, spirituality, God and state, we keep those separate. Like the government in our country is literally divorced from God. It says, no, we can't allow God in the courtroom. It's impractical. That's so we're still looking at these two things as two separate things. And I think it might be causing us a problem in the world. Because I thought we would probably blend these two things. And that maybe our government shouldn't maybe be completely divorced from God, our source, our creator. If my government is divorced from God, but I'm very much in love with and married to God, connected with God, but my government is separate from it, this is probably not going to work out well, right? Hi, Chris. Thank you for joining. God bless you. So I'm just throwing this thing out there. Maybe if we brought them together and blended them together in a logical, sensible way, right? I'm not talking about trying to bring all the dogmas of all the different religions into government. I didn't say government and religion. Oh, no. We should never get those mixing up. The government's already confused enough. You start throwing in all these different religions and they'll probably never get it figured out. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how all religions have this same base foundation. And if this same base foundation was combined with our everyday way of living, even in our government, our everything, then maybe we might find a harmony in our life that has a divine wisdom associated with it. You know, the worldly world has all this logic and reason and book learning stuff going on, but they're not doing very well, you know. And the ones who've decided to go only in the spiritual direction and just totally block out this idea that there even is a material world, well, they're kind of one-sided and not balanced as well. At least this is what Yogananda, our guru, taught us. That this idea, you know, of balance would probably be better, you know. I talk about the Mayan astrology wisdom a lot. They assign an idea and an energy to each day, and a archetypical glyph, right? That's designed to help. They engraved in stone, designed to wake up something in our memory. And today's is this one called Kib. And if we notice, we have these bars going this way, bars going this way, bars going up at the top here. And this is signifying this idea that there's these 3 different ways that we can go, right? We can go a material way. This path here is leading in the material world, to the material direction. The opposite of this material direction would be a spiritual direction, right? So that's the other side here of this archetypical glyph designed to just wake something up in our mind. And if we kind of know what we're looking for, it really wakes up something in the mind. Because this energy today is about these different pathways that we can take. The purely material way, the purely spiritual way. But here's this middle one, this middle path here. It's going up, kind of giving you a hint, you know. It's going up, raising up, right? This middle way, right? And this middle way is a combination, a balanced, right? It's in the middle here, isn't it, between these two? It's not leaning this one a little more. It's not leaning this way. It's right here in the middle. Trying to get us to understand this is the middle way that combines these 2 ways of spiritual and material. So that we can walk our journey, our path, our life, which is really just a question mark, right? We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Our life, our journey is a question. And so we're walking this path of this, what we like to refer to as this cosmic question mark. Which path have you chosen? Have you chosen the material way, the spiritual way, or the middle way? No judgment. This isn't a judgment call. This is an observation. We need to make an observation, an evaluation. And there isn't a right way or a wrong way. They all lead back home eventually. But there are different paths, right? All kinds of different paths. And so, you know, our guru, our teachings, the Mayans are, you know, it's all about being in the center. It's all about taking that central path. It's all about being in balance. Right? So our guru suggests that, you know, and in our teachings, you know, we're taking that central way, that middle path, where we're balancing all of our worldly material responsibilities, hopes and dreams, with all of our spiritual life, our spiritual aspirations and goals, hopes and dreams as well. In a balanced, blended way. Not in a separate way saying, I'm doing this one and this one. Here they are. They're together, right? No, they're not. They're never going to get together because I'm keeping them separate, right? I'm not blending them. This is what I am hoping to see in the world. This is what our awakening consciousness family is really all about here, is to see this blending going on. A balanced blending. Not more spirituality, and a little less worldly, or a little more worldly, a little less spirituality even. A perfect balanced blending. A harmony, right? A coming into a harmony. That's what we want in our life, right? We want to live a harmonious life, don't we? I'm pretty sure. Last I checked, everybody wanted love. Everybody wanted peace. Everybody wants joy. Anybody out there want to be hated? Does anybody out there want to be in misery? And suffering and sorrow? No, I'm pretty sure not. Okay, maybe there's one. I don't know. I'm not saying that there isn't. I'm just saying I haven't found one yet. I haven't found anyone that says, yeah, I really do want to suffer. and this misery thing is something I really like. Because listen, here's what I would contend. That if they like suffering and misery, they're actually getting what they like. Suffering and misery. That's joy to them. Maybe to them, joy is the experience of pain. I'm not judging them. I can't say. It's not my way. I haven't found somebody yet. Okay. That says, yes, I love the feeling of being burned. Right? No, nobody likes to be burned. Right? And so, or should I say, I haven't found them. And so we're kind of all wanting this joy, this peace, this harmony. And so I would like to suggest that when we blend these two together, this idea of spirituality, what do I mean, this idea of spirituality? I don't mean religion. I mean this idea of getting connected to our source so that we can live happily, right? So that we can be happy human beings. If we check in all religions, I've checked all religions, okay? I checked. They all say that we should be trying to connect to our source. That's what they all say. They all got their own way about it. And that's okay too, because we got all different kinds of people that want to do it all different kinds of ways. So, fortunately, our Creator supplies us with limitless ways. Okay? But really, it's all about really getting connected to that source. Because that source, when we're connected to that source, then we know everything that's going on. We're at peace, we're in joy, we're in harmony, everything's great. The basic teachings of all religion is that the further you get separated, or the further you imagine you're separated from your source, the more the suffering is in your life. And the more connected to this source you are, the less the suffering is in your life. And the whole point here is to remove that suffering and to have joy. And so getting to source would be the best thing to do to achieve this. Permanent happiness, right? Permanent joy is what we're talking about here. Our Guru says that this fleeting joy, this joy that runs away when you need it most, is really just very frustrating. There's no joy at all, really. Right? If it's going to be disappearing on you when you least expect it. We want a permanent, lasting joy. Right? In the Hindu tradition, we call it Sat Chitananda. Sat, ever existing. Chit is ever conscious. Ananda, ever new joy. Right? We put these together. Ever existing. Ever conscious. That means always existing. Always conscious. You don't want existence without consciousness of it. And you wouldn't want a conscious existence if it was miserable. You want to always be conscious, right? And you want this consciousness to be a joyous consciousness. You wouldn't want to have ever existing, ever conscious misery all the time, right? You want ever existing, ever conscious, always existing, always conscious joy. That's what the Ananda, Sat, always there, always was, always will be. Chit, it's conscious. It's not unconscious. Ananda, right? Ever new joy. Not the same boring joy. Because it wouldn't be joy then. It would be boring. Real joy is ever new. It's always new. It's always fresh and enlivening. That's what makes it so wonderful. Otherwise, it wouldn't be so wonderful. It would become boring. And we would want to get rid of it for anything else. And so, we can now see why it would probably benefit us to not try to keep them so separate. In our Guru's teaching is about being householder yogis, right? This means that we balance our worldly life with our spiritual life, whatever our religion may be. Doesn't matter what our religion is. We balance it, right? If you're Catholic, then okay. But you got, and you go to work and you do your job, right? Unless you're living in, if you're actually living at the church, then and you're staying there all the time and you're living that, well, then that means, okay, then that's different. You chose the other path, right? The spiritual path, right? Some of us have chosen the worldly path. We don't go to church, right? Some of us have chosen that path. We're going to live at the church, okay? We're going to stay there. And others, well, Kriyabans are kind of choosing that middle way, right? Where we're going to do both. In balance, though. We're not going to do one more than the other and be out of balance that way, right? And Guru guides us in that, how to do that. That's what all the saints and sages came to guide us in. Not just to come and say, look how great I am, I can do all these miracles and stuff. That's not what they did, what they came for. They all came for the same reason. To show us that we can do this. And different ones came at different times in different cultures, in different countries, in different ways, and did different things, because they all came with what we call a special dispensation, right? They came to dispense something special to us, to help us, to guide us, to show us. Too long to get into what all the individual special dispensations were of each of these masters that came. But they all had a special thing in mind, right? Yogananda, his special thing was teaching us how to balance this and live in this harmonious way here while we're here. And then get rid of all of our karma, all of our attachments, all of our energy that keeps bringing us back here, and bring ourselves into balance so we don't have to keep being forced to come back here, life after life. It's a special dispensation, right? That he came here to show us. Each of these masters came for different things, and so different people are drawn to different things in this way. And so it's good to have all this diversity. But it's not so good, I don't think, to keep it separate from our everyday life. Right? If we keep it separate, we're keeping this idea of separation going on. Right? And I think in this ascending consciousness, we're actually resolving this idea of separation. We're doing away with this idea of separation. Right? And we're learning to balance it. In Kriya Yoga, we learn to balance even our own feminine and masculine aspects within us. We get down that detailed with it. And merge them, fuse them, balance them. Right? It's a way of living. And if we try to keep it separate, if we put spirituality up on the shelf and leave it at home when we go to work, our life might not be good that way, right? And the same the other way, right? It goes both ways, right? If we go to our church or temple or mosque or wherever we go, or even just our own sacred space, right? But we're totally forgetting that we're here. We're having this existence. We're here being the eyes, nose, ears, mouth, hands, and feet of God. We can't just deny that, or we'll be out of balance. So we don't want to put either one up on the shelf and separate them and keep them separate. Right? Oh, I'm all for this idea of the government not interfering, okay, with what churches and spirituality, what we're doing here with this spirituality stuff, because the government doesn't understand what we're doing. They shouldn't be, no one should be getting involved into something they don't understand. They're two separate entities. But that doesn't mean that they have to have this complete separation of understanding. It doesn't mean that they should be completely disconnected from each other. That when we divorced, when they, because we couldn't find the right balance, I understand. It made sense. But our consciousness is raising now. Okay? And we're getting better at being able to balance this idea. So this complete separation is starting to really show us that that's not quite what we're really trying to do. Right? What we don't want is interference with things that we shouldn't be interfering with things we don't know about or that we're not involved with. Right? One of the things I think that's really, really hurting us in the world today is, we've gotten the lines blurred, and somehow we got to thinking that the government was supposed to take care of us. And the government really never was really designed to take care of us. Right? Our churches were designed to take care of us when our churches were, about authentic spirituality instead of dogmatic, control. Okay? And so it was the church that's supposed to take care of the people in this way. Our government is supposed to protect the people, isn't it? Right? To protect the borders, keep us safe. Do this international trading stuff and all this international stuff like this. Right? It used to be the churches that was the welfare program for the people. Not the government. Because the government is doing a job that it actually requires their dharma is to be heartless almost. They're out there killing and fighting and doing things that, it's a different dharma. It's a different job. Okay? They're not supposed to have this really big heart. They're almost supposed to kind of have a hard heart a little bit and protect the border. and it's the loving, compassionate, spiritual families that come together that should be taking care of each other when it comes to those kinds of things like food, shelter, clothing. Right? In our own communities, working together this way. Yes, Arjun, we gave our power away. We gave it away. You can take it back. Right? If you gave it away, that means we can take it back. Can't we? We gave it to them. We can take it back. If we can get past all this nonsense, right? To get past the nonsense, we're going to have our balance about us, though. That's what we're going to need to do. That's why I say sadhana. Be on your sadhana. Because our teachings teaches us how to balance this and blend this. And when we can balance this and blend this and get that peace in our heart, get that understanding going on, then we're not lost in fear and confusion. Then we won't be giving our power away anymore. We'll be taking our power back. That's what all of the Mayan teachings is all about. If you read the Mayan Oracle with me, you'll see every description of every one of these solar frequencies is about getting our power back. Right? This is about, today's energy is about realizing that we're spiritual warriors. This is called Kib. Yellow warrior Kib, we call it. Because it's about how we are spiritual warriors, right? We didn't come here to just hang out on vacation. We came here with special skills of feeling and sensing that are above the average normal person. We're empathic, right? We can feel things. We can sense negative energy. From a mile away, we can sense it. Why do you think we had this special ability? Just so we can go around and say, look at me, I'm special. I can sense and feel things. No. We incarnated with these special abilities, these superpower to sense and to feel energy, so that we can sense and feel that energy, not to run away from it, but to literally track it down. Right? To track it down. For what reason? Not just to track it down and say, oh, there you are. No, to track it down and transmute that negative energy into positive energy. All empaths, all of you who are here today, came here with this special ability to do this. But to do it, we're going to have our power. We're going to have to be fully self-empowered to do this job. And this society, it disempowers us. It's a disempowering society. Right? We know this. It's very clear. They always tell you you can't do it. They don't tell you you can do it. And so, we're going to have to do something to get our power back. And we can't count on the government for that. We can't count on anyone for that, Guru says. We have to do that ourselves. We have to take our power back. They're not going to give it to you. Oh no, they're not just going to give it to you. But we can't be sitting around thinking that we're powerless. We have to get up and do something. Our families, our spiritual families, definitely doing something. We don't like what's going on in the public schools. We make our own school. and we do what's right in our school. Okay? We don't like what's going on in the communities out there in the world. We make our own community. And we're doing it right in our community the way our Guru guides us to do it. It's what Paramahansa Yogananda told us to do. Make our own community and live separate from that other world. It's not doing it in what we would consider a good way. It's out of harmony. It's out of balance. That's what we say. That's not for us. So we're making a community that's in balance, that's in harmony. We're making our own school. We can't even call it a school anymore. It's not a school. It's a private education association. It's separate from what they're doing out there in the world. It's kind of new, you know. And we're very happy to be able to do it. We're very blessed to be able to do that, right? We can't do it by keeping it separate, right? We don't need to interfere, but at the same time, we don't need to be completely separate. Okay. Oh, I'm getting a lot of dings and messages here. It looks like the world is calling me. So, we may have to wrap up here. Let me see. We have a... Great messages here that I really don't... Oh, wow. Yes. Thank you for your wonderful comments, Arjen and Chris. Yes. But I am going to have to get going because I have things going on. I'm getting some messages here that say people are trying to get a hold of me and we have some things going on. So, this is how we do it, right? We balance. When it's time to do what the world is, when the world calls, we do the world thing. But we don't forget God when we do it. And when we're in with God, we don't forget that we're here in this world. So, hold on just a second. I'm just saying goodbye to everybody. Just a second, Jeremiah, okay? Thank you, everyone. I love you all. So blessed that we can get together. We'll get together again tomorrow. Namaste and Lakach Jai Om Guru. Have a great day. Thank you for all your blessings. Bye now.